Today, we have a list of, 16 logical fallacies.
Wow.
And today we're going to be going through and judging which one is the most fun or the worst or whatever we do, because nothing is really ever defined on this channel.
Which one is
ever.
the funny, basically?
Yes, which one is the funny?
Which one is the funny?
Our first matchup, the slippery slope fallacy versus the appeal to nature. Now, Elliot, you'll describe one of them, I'll describe the other, because last time you did way too much talking.
This is why we got hate on the last video. You just start getting racist.
No, it's surprising how little hate we get. We should be getting way more hate comments, but we don't. So, I guess I'll go first. So the slippery slope fallacy, basically what that means, for those who don't know.
If something bad appeal to nature is the automatic assumption that if something is organic or comes from nature, it must be correct, true, or good for your health.
I don't like
Damn.
how well worded that was.
You're getting on my
So the slippery slope fallacy.
Damn.
So the slippery slope fallacy basically
Fuck out of my face.
is that if A happens, then B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and so on will happen, right? If, for example, we put tariffs on 190 other countries, that automatically means all the other countries are going to automatically go to war with us, and they're going to launch other nukes at us, and that we are going to be distraught as a country.
Like, just because there was a lead in the water problem doesn't mean that everyone's dying or that Obama has to step in.
I feel like our examples here are really bad, but you get the gist. So first of all, the people who use these, politicians usually use the slippery slope fallacy as a way of disproving.
It's appeal to fear.
They're right to disprove opponents' points. It's like, oh, if you do this thing that you're trying to do, then X, Y, Z will happen. But the appeal to nature is used by vegans and people like that who are like, you shouldn't eat that because it's not organic. So it's we got some real competition here. Politicians versus vegans.
Again, we did clarify that whichever one is the funny, but we're still relatively unclear in logical senses what we're voting for. This is not a good start.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with the appeal to nature one on this one, because it's just funny to piss off vegan people and to have them say, you can't do that, it's not. Would you eat a car or something? Didn't they?
I prefer slippery. There was no PSA about eating a Toyota.
Oh no, it's like you wouldn't steal a car for when it comes to piracy.
You wouldn't download a car.
Right, but all that advertisement did is show people that you could pirate content on the internet. Appeal to nature because I hate vegan people.
Slippery slope because when there's a muscle mommy goth Latina, I can be like, if you don't let me hit, the world's gonna fucking explode. It usually doesn't work, but it's still fun to try. It's still fun. It's still fun to try.
The slippery slope one is used a lot more in general context, and it can be
it's like a Molotov.
Diverse.
It spreads as far as you want it to.
You can really use it in whatever situation you want. Let's say we're arguing that slavery should be abolished.
No, why?
And I am, for whatever reason, against slavery being abolished. I could say, well, if we let the slaves free, then they're gonna go and run amok in our cities, and that's gonna cause the financial crash and downfall
Recession.
of this great union country. So
slippery slope.
Honestly, I think slippery slope does.
He went on a racist tangent just to say slippery slope.
Okay, anecdotal versus begging the question. Now I kind of forgot what.
I like using the word anecdotal evidence, but I don't remember what anecdotal means.
Using personal experience. Oh right, that's like saying I think that all dogs should be killed. Because I had a bad experience with a dog once. Because a dog fucking bit my finger.
I was gonna say a slur, but your cat is a loser for walking out after you tried to grab it. Therefore, all cats should be killed.
See, that's anecdotal.
More reasonably, my grandfather smoked and lived to 80, so if I do it too.
Right, yeah, that's another great case of anecdotal. It's like, oh, well, despite all the evidence regarding smoking, my dad smokes and he's not dead yet, so I might as well. right? And then begging the question.
Oh,
I really hate
no,
this one.
I know begging the question.
I really hate this one.
It's please let me hit, please.
That's not begging the question.
I'm good at that one. I'm really good at that one.
That's not.
I'm really good at that one.
Yes, you are. Begging the question.
Is
an argument which in itself includes the conclusion.
I don't even understand it, therefore anecdotal's better.
We're very good at logicking. We don't even know what begging the question means.
Anecdotal wins. What's anecdotal again?
So begging the question, using the conclusion in one of your premises to prove that very same conclusion. That is what begging the question is. I can't think of any examples because I don't even really know what it is. But I will say this one does go to anecdotal because it's just funnier.
We can just assume begging the question is my previous example of please.
Sure.
Please let me hit.
Alright, burden of proof versus appeal to emotion.
I hate the burden of evidence. Every time I try to argue with you, you do some whole ass move like, ooh, the burden of evidence is on you. And I hate that.
Yeah, because when you say that God is real, the burden of proof is then on you to prove why God is real because you're making the claim.
Okay,
if I were to come to you and I were to say...
Let's think of this as basketball. Let's say...
Of course we were going to put it in basketball terms, aren't we, Elliot? Yeah. Yeah. No, go ahead. Put it in basketball terms.
Appeal to emotion is better.
Appeal to emotion basically just means saying you shouldn't eat meat because look at this video of cows in a house dying or
yeah.
baby chicks
Not
being ground up
any
in a
reasoning.
grinder.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, very sad. Still the appeal to
But
emotion.
damn, them chicken nuggets hit.
It's like your reasoning can't be, oh well, that's sad. A reason isn't an emotion. Right? Facts don't care about your feelings, liberals. So the burden of proof fallacy is basically like, let's say the example of Elliot saying that God is real. Let's say Elliot walks up to me and he says, hey Hugh, God is real.
I would never say that.
You've said it almost 5 times now, yeah. And I say, okay Elliot, if you're making this claim, please explain why God is real.
Nah.
And Elliot says, no, Hugh, you should explain to me why God isn't real.
Because you can't accuse someone and then not have any evidence backing
You
up
are
the
the
murder
accuser.
charge. Hey, I know a funny guy who had that happen to him. O.J. Simpson.
But I think burden of proof definitely wins here.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
It's so fun to just say, no, you, to someone whenever they make an argument.
But with appeal to emotion, again, I say golf Latina baddies. I go, please let me hit, and it works.
That's like saying it would make me very sad if
you didn't let me hit, or if you didn't step on me with your boots and call me a good boy. You know, like, you know. So appeal to emotion is superior.
Or you go to a goth Latina baddie, and you ask her to hit, and she says, why should I let you hit? And you say in response, why shouldn't
you?
Right.
Exactly.
So burden of proof.
No. Appeal to emotions better because if she's dominant, she'll be like, oh, bet. This guy's like 5'3" and is a twink material. Say less.
Really doing some projecting right now on you, Elliot.
I'm 5'4".
No, the thing is, like, the burden of proof has happened to me so many times that I'm not okay with just letting it slide.
Yeah,
give me one reason to agree with you, Elliot.
Yeah, because the ball ends up being in your court when you don't have a straight up reason on why the Latina baddie should let you hit. You still have to prove it, and if she knows what the burden of proof is, she's not gonna let you hit. But if you use appeal to emotion, then you don't really have to provide any reasonable basis on why she should let you hit. You just make her feel like, oh, this guy looks breedable.
Even though you could do the same thing in the appeal to emotion case, I do feel like that's a good enough reason. Honestly, I'm gonna let that slide.
Black and white. I know you're an expert on that one. I know you're an expert on that one. Go ahead, Hugh. Explain to me.
I actually kind of am an expert on this one, but I want to explain the loaded question more than I do black and white. So you do black and white.
A loaded question just has multiple different points for it, making your opponent...
No.
Want to explain it?
Yeah, I'll explain it.
Okay, damn.
Yes, Daddy. So, alright. So, the loaded question is basically a question that assumes another answer inside of the question. For example, a question like, why did you kill that cat? That is a loaded question because it assumes that you have killed a cat, right? It's like, It's like asking the question, did you feel remorse when you killed that cat? It's assuming that you did kill the cat, which, you know, I may or may not have, but that's not relevant. So, and then Elliot, since you're an expert
No, it's called passive-aggressive speech.
It's called a loaded question.
It's like asking, do you mind? If you say yes, which is usually
No.
affirmative, if it's insinuating that, yes, you're okay with it. If you say no, then it means that you don't mind. It's kind of what you're saying here.
No, it's not.
It's passive.
Not at all.
It's passive-aggressive speech.
Okay, Elliot, why don't you answer a question for me? Just a simple yes or no, okay? Would you kill another cat?
Why?
That's not a yes or no.
Another cat?
Exactly.
Second one. So a
Exactly.
second one.
Would you
so
kill another cat?
are you insinuating that I am a cat?
What? No! What? No! So basically, black or white. It means presenting two conclusions when in fact there are more, right? So, that's like saying, either Elliot, we save the climate, or we save the ocean. Pick one. When no!
Save the Golfotinas.
We can save them all, and we can also save the
Why would I
Golfotinas.
save them all? I just want to save the Golfotinas. Because then there's no other options but me.
Okay, honestly, if you're gonna be honest, loaded questions are much funnier. Because then I can
Because I have the word load in them.
Loaded questions are just way funnier. I can ask people things and they will get angry at me because it's assuming something in the question.
That's a good point. Another question wins.
So special pleading versus the fallacy.
Ooh, special pleading? I'm good at that one too. Please let me hit. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
Not even me.
So basically, special pleading, not in Elliot's way of saying it. Once you prove that something is one way,
I'm busting
your opponent just moves the goalposts of what you're trying to prove. All right, editor Hugh here, intervening because I was just about to butcher that explanation of special pleading. So I'm gonna give you like the better explanation. So special pleading is when you say that something is the case. For example, everyone should follow the law. But then you don't follow that rule yourself. You plead your case by saying that your situation is special in some way. For example, you said that everyone should follow the law, but then you jaywalk. And so you're pleading your case by saying, oh, well, you know, I was in a hurry. Oh, I didn't follow the law there, but it's okay. It's a special case, right? I'll use like some current events. It's like, it's not okay to say that, you know, all Jews should die, that like you're a Nazi. But you know, when Kanye does it, is it really that bad? He's just doing the X, Y, and Z. You're pleading his case. You're saying that his case is special when you also say that it's not okay for someone to say that they hate Jews or to, you know, be a Nazi. And then, Elliot, the fallacy.
I have no idea what the fallacy is. Never heard of it.
Don't even know what it is. Because the fallacy was using an argument, that means the argument is false. Okay, a fallacy
Your Honor,
would be
he
like...
stuttered, he's wrong.
A fallacy would be like saying, it will be going up to Elliot saying God is real, but then Elliot telling you to explain why God isn't real, but that's not the fallacy. The fallacy comes when, if I point out that that's the burden of proof fallacy, then I also say, well, Elliot, because you used a fallacy in your argument is invalid. Which is not always the case. That does not mean that God cannot exist just because the burden of proof fallacy was used. Right? A point can be true, but just be misrepresented in a fallacious way.
Damn,
honestly,
I was not listening to that. I ain't even gonna lie.
I like special pleading more. Because again, I can make just people angry by saying, well, it's not a real thing. It's like,
yeah, special pleading is pretty punk.
Yeah. Alright, so, false cause. I love false cause. False cause is very simple. It's mixing correlation with causation. Just because two things are correlated does not mean that one causes the other. I'm pretty sure it's like, there was some statistic where it's like, the amount of people who died from drowning in pools from like 1990 to 2005 is correlated with the amount of movies that I think it was like Chuck Norris or whoever was in at that time. I think I got that fact like completely wrong.
Can you drink your polar?
But that does not mean that one
and it's about to fall.
causes the other. You really are OCD, Elliot.
So the Texas sharpshooter fallacy comes from a story of a sharpshooter who shot on a fence and then painted bullseyes around the bullet holes to make it appear like he had hit the bullseye. Long story short, this is just spinning the narrative. You want a more in-depth evaluation? Talk to the nigga who looks like he's from Texas.
Oh yeah, it's like when Trump said that the reason why the stock market was doing so well during the election was that because people knew he was going to win, and that when he did win, the stock market did go up a little bit. And he was like, the reason why the stock market is up is because I have won, I'm not even in office, and I'm already being such a great president, even better president Joe Biden or Barack Obama could ever be.
Don't point to me.
But then when he actually got in office and the stock market started dropping significantly, he said, we are dealing with the
Stock market
aftermath
expert
of
over
the disgraceful,
Biden
horrible
administration.
Biden administration. It's really awful. And so basically he's just like Elliot said, painting the bullseyes around the gunshot holes.
Bullet holes.
Fuck you.
What the fuck is a gunshot hole? A gunshot is the sound.
But honestly, for this one, I have to go with False Cause because it's just such a classic.
I guess so. Yeah. False cause. Just because I was low-key stroking it on the same day that the Queen died, doesn't mean that that's why she died. Bandwagon.
This one is my favorite one. I want to
me,
explain the straw man.
me,
The straw man is my favorite
Bandwagon.
logical fallacy.
Bandwagon.
Hands down, but no, go ahead.
Bandwagon.
Fine.
The bandwagon essentially just means liking or agreeing with someone because it's popular at that point in time.
Or it's like, that's not all of it though. It's, yeah, just because something is popular does not mean it's true.
And that's why the goth Latina baddie should let me hit. Just because I'm generally unattractive
Exactly.
doesn't mean that I shouldn't be able to hit.
Right, that's not a reason. Just because a lot of people hold a subjective opinion does not make that opinion then objective just because a lot of people hold it.
Keep talking and
Now.
I'm just finished.
Now, the straw man. This is my favorite logical fallacy.
The nigga from Batman?
The straw man is very simply misrepresenting your opponent's argument. If I say, I love cats, and Elliot could straw man by saying, wait, hold on, you hate dogs? No, I never said that. But the reason why I love the straw man so much is because so many times it can just go unnoticed. And nobody ever notices that I used it, but I still did, and that's why they lose the argument. Not because I actually have good reasons, but because I carefully and subtly misrepresented their argument. So Elliot, you want to make a case for Bandwagon?
I mean, I already made it. Goth Latina baddie, just because a bunch of people say I'm unattractive.
But I feel like that relies on like popularity and what is like in at the time. The straw man is like it's just a classic. You can use it whenever you want. Like I've used it countless times on Elliot. Bandwagon versus straw man.
Straw man.
Yeah, straw man obviously wins here.
Because if I can misconstrue people's arguments by spinning the narrative once again.
Exactly. All right. No True Scotsman versus ad hom.
I forget what no True Scotsman is.
Yeah,
And
me
ad
too.
hominem is just funny.
It is just funny. Shifting the goalposts to align to only true scenarios.
No idea what that means.
Okay, let me explain this one. Everybody knows what ad hom is, so it wouldn't require a big explanation. But basically, no True Scotsman is basically like saying,
Bro, just get the paint explainer.
like it's fuck you, bro. No True Scotsman is like saying Bob and Steve, this
I
SOB
am Steve.
back here again. Bob wants to hit a hole-in-one at golf. And Steve is like, yeah, you get that ball in the hole in one hit. That's a hole-in-one.
Or one.
And then Bob goes and he hits the ball into the hole in one hit. And then Steve says, well, hold on. That's not a true hole-in-one because your eyes weren't closed while you were making a shot.
Just look it up.
And then ad hom, very simple.
Personal attack.
It's just an attack on your personal character rather
Like,
than
hey,
the argument.
You can't trust his opinion. He's a queer.
Exactly. Or you could even say, well, hold on.
Hold on, now some might argue.
I can't trust your argument because you're a murderer. And even if this guy did murder some people or some cats, that doesn't mean that his opinion or reasons for arguments should be discounted.
Okay, his opinion is discounted because he lost the right to vote when he became a convicted felon.
Just more ad hominem. And even though some of these can be very bad, people can have very bad personal characters, that does not invalidate their arguments. I think ad hominem just very clearly wins here. Slippery slope versus anecdotal.
My slope is very slippery right now.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to stick with slippery slope on this one. I think it's just better.
Yeah, my slope is indeed very slippery.
Because the slippery slope, it can just be used in any scenario. Anecdotal is like, sure, you can say, oh, well, it's happened to me, but that can't apply on a larger scale. The slippery slope can be applied on a larger scale. Now, appeal to emotion versus the loaded
Appeal to
question.
emotion. Appeal to emotion.
Loaded question, man.
Appeal
Loaded
to
question. I fucking love loading questions. Loading.
And loading your balls. You know.
Again, doesn't make any sense. No, but appeal to emotion, loaded question, obviously so much better here.
No.
Yeah, the bunny rabbit looks a little bit sad when climate change is happening, but I can say, why did you kill that rabbit? And the vegan is forced to answer.
What are you on?
Fuck you, I'll give it to appeal to emotion.
Yay! I win. I'm absolutely balling on you.
The appeal to emotion,
Look, what are you doing in here?
Oh,
my
hello,
God.
Atticus.
Oh my God, Ellie.
Great pizza.
Alright, so. Yeah. So, what we were doing here.
Just got a whole lot gayer.
Whoa, someone out the room.
what we're doing here is we
Oh, I turned the fan on.
We are doing a like a ranking of like which logical fallacy is the best. And so, yeah. So, special pleading versus false cause. Obviously it's false cause here.
Yeah, false
Correlation
cause.
and causation is just like such a classic misconception.
And then I can say, just because
Oh
I'm
my
ugly
God.
doesn't mean I can't hit.
okay, this is a sad matchup. Straw man versus ad hominem.
No. No.
Yeah, come on. See.
Come on.
Come on.
I love both those.
I see. Me too. Me too. I love ad hominem and straw man, but I just can't decide on which one is
Straw
better.
The boys used to ad hominem back in the days.
Honestly, I think I'm gonna have to give it to straw man
That is
because
fair. That is fair.
it is very easy to see when someone is ad homing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starman's a bit harder to see.
Okay, slippery slope versus appeal to emotion.
Appeal to emotion.
No, I
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
see why you stick with appeal to the emotion.
Because I
every
told you,
single time.
I told you, I can guilt trip the goth baddie into letting me hit. We've been over this.
But with slippery slope, it can go down the slope of all of the things that would happen if she didn't let you hit.
But if you use slippery slope, that would just be appeal to emotion, because then she would care about you. I'm balling on these niggas. I'm
Fuck you,
clustered
bro.
down. Yeah, kill yourself.
All right.
He lost that one.
This is fun.
False cause versus straw man. I gotta go with straw man here, man.
That is fair. I
It's always nice to misrepresent somebody's point. Elliot?
Okay.
Okay, that was the second and third rounds, and now we are down to the final two. I didn't think that appeal to emotion would last this long. Straw man.
Neither did I.
That's an easy one.
And all the minutes I've been here, I never thought Starman would get here.
But, Elliot, in a sense, the straw man is the core of every logical fallacy. Because what you're doing to every single argument is you're misrepresenting it. Whether it's with correlation and causation, whether it's with a loaded question, which assumes a question inside of it, you're always just misrepresenting someone else's point. And that's a lot better than just saying, oh, well, that'll make me sad.
I like how you
Elliot?
separate after that argument.
Sticking with
Sorry,
your
check
appeal to
Twitter.
emotion here.
You like straw man? Of course, we can tell you like men.
I think you gotta put yourself into that one there. He'll go.
Appeal to emotion.
No!
I gotta
Dude,
stick.
Starman's
that was-
just way too good of a argument, though.
See, Atticus being the fair and righteous judge that he always is,
I mean, he'll
Starman
go.
has to win here, right? So, because Atticus is on my side, and
And
righteous judge that he
gay.
always is, straw man is easily always the best logical fallacy ever. What are the takeaways from this video, Elliot? Go.
Atticus busting in the room scared me, and then I got hard. Another takeaway.
Another takeaway is that, I know you're gonna say, I'm gonna say it first. No matter what situation you're in, always make it, no matter what logical fallacy you're using, always make it about goth Latinas.
Always.
Not what I was
Always.
gonna say, but that's fair. Oh, one more takeaway. Your leg's been touching mine this whole time, and I don't like it. Move that shit over. Thank you.